Hello and welcome to Howard's Horse Handicapping. This is Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining the show and the video tonight. We got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of very exciting news coming out of Saturday, including the Dubai World Cup action and Maidan, and also the exciting action at Gulfstream, plus a very exciting new news about a contest, a free contest coming up this Thursday. We'll tell you all about it. But the first thing you need to do, if you have not done it already, is please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and also comment down below the video player on anything that we're going to talk about today or anything you've seen with the channel. I greatly appreciate all the support that has come my way. Let's talk about what's happening this week because this is some of the best horse racing of the year. All the preps for the Kentucky Derby, stakes all over the place, opening weekend of Keeneland. So, what's coming up on this show? Because we have got some bonus coverage happening that I want to tell you all about. So, let's take a look at it right now. So, this week coming up, I'm going to do two shows. That's right, two live stream shows Thursday and Friday night, both starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Our live streams have been fantastic with a lot of great viewership. On Thursday night, we're going to be previewing the three Kentucky Derby preps this Saturday: the Wood Memorial at Aqueduct, the Bluegrass down at Keeneland, and the Santa Anita Derby, of course, at Santa Anita. We're only going to cover those three races. They are huge races to see who qualifies for the Kentucky Derby, sort of the, I guess, Elite Eight, you can say, before we get to the Final Four and the championship, to put it in NCAA basketball terminology. That's happening on Thursday. In addition, as you can see, there's going to be a free contest, and you have to be listening on Thursday or at least watch the replay of it. The winner will receive a gift certificate to Old Smoke Clothing, which has great horse racing t-shirts and other fun stuff on there. If you want to find out and be a part of the free contest, you need to watch Thursday's live stream or the replay of it, and you can find out how to win the first free contest here on Howard's Horse Handicapping. Again, you don't want to miss it. Friday, we'll have another live stream on Friday. It's going to be bonus coverage of the late pick five at Keeneland on Saturday. I love Keeneland Racetrack. It's fantastic. So there's going to be a live stream on Friday also, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, just discussing the late pick five at Keeneland on Saturday. Of course, one of those races is the Bluegrass. So basically, we'll be discussing four races at Keeneland on Saturday. This weekend coming up is one of my favorite weekends of the year. When Keeneland opens up, you also have great stakes action at Santa Anita and Aqueduct. Stay here for this channel. We're going to be covering it all. You don't want to miss it. I'm really excited about what's coming up this week. Again, live streams Thursday night and Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. So on today's video, we're going to talk about two things. We're going to quickly talk about Dubai, and there are three interesting things and developments that came out of the Dubai races. I wasn't planning on talking about Dubai too much. However, of the three topics I want to cover very quickly, two of the topics wasn't planning on discussing that absolutely needs to be discussed, and I want to talk about those three things as I just go ahead and set up what I'm talking about here. So, the first thing, let's talk about the sprint race on the dirt, the Dubai Golden Shaheen. And I'm not going to show a lot of replays, but we need to discuss what happened because a horse named Zendon, an American horse, if you weren't paying attention Saturday morning, won the $1 million dirt race at 53 to 1. He paid $108.70. And I did have a small win bet on him, and I have to give a lot of credit to Chad Summers. Who's Chad Summers? You remember, Chad Summers was the trainer of a horse named Mind Your Biscuits, a very popular horse that won this Golden Shaheen. He was on a podcast with Naomi Tucker on the In the Money media podcasts. That's the only reason really I played this horse. I wasn't even planning on betting the race. I just want to show you his PPs. There's Zenden's PPs. Really nothing special. I mean, he did pop 100 buyer last year at Gulfstream in the Hooper. He really struggled at the beginning, at the end of 2020, and then you see his buyer numbers were slowly increasing, as you can see that from a 68 to an 86 to a 94. But I mean, his last win was the Pelican Stakes at Tampa. I wouldn't really consider the $75,000 restricted stake win at Tampa to catapult this horse on to a big win in the $1 million race. But that's not the whole story. The fact that he paid $108, I know I had a few friends also bet on him because he was such a big price. But the real story, unfortunately, other than the win, was, let me just go ahead and back, is that unfortunately, and you might have already know this by now, of course, but Zenden, something went wrong with him right after the wire, and he had to be put down, which is truly just tragic and unfortunate for this horse and his connections, trainer Carlos David. You just don't see a horse win $1 million race and then unfortunately go off. I think it was his left leg, and he had to be euthanized and put down, which is horrible. Um, and my condolences to connections. The one thing that needs to be brought up, and there was some talk on social media, etc., and I think it has to be mentioned, but I think you have to be very careful in this topic, is that Carlos David, the trainer of Zenden, for 5 years spent time as an assistant with Jason Service, who, as you all know, Jason Service has been accused. The trial's going to be happening, I believe, this summer. It's going to start of uh, drugging horses and a lot of other just horrible things. And that trial's going to be coming up, of course, in the summer. Now, I want to be very, very clear in what I want to say on this channel. I do not know Carlos David at all. I know he's about a 23% trainer. He's a young trainer who's having a fantastic year, mainly down at Gulfstream and a few other places. And Chad Summers had said this horse looked fantastic on the track during the week, was training great. So maybe the horse just he absolutely ran his career race ever and was geared up. I mean, he broke like a train. He finished the race in 109, broke the track record by a full second. The optics, however, does not look good. And again, I am not accusing Carlos David of anything. There's going to be an autopsy. Hopefully, the horse was clean. There were no issues. I have no suspicions that anything untoward happened in the race. But again, the fact that Carlos David did work for Jason Service, the horse broke a track record by a full second, and he was 50 to 1 or 53 to 1. Again, the optics don't look great, but again, I am not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that the trainer did anything wrong. It's a great story. It's also a tragic story. It'll be something to follow as we go along um, in the coming days and weeks, and hopefully, again, Zenden scoped clean, and there'll be no issues other than it's just a fantastic / horrible event that happened Saturday morning in Dubai. There are also two other races in Dubai that I want to discuss. One of them, Mishrif, my buddy Mishrif, who I got at 19 to 1 a month ago. And the reason why I brought him up, he won again, beat two very good horses in the Philly Chronogenesis and a very good Aidan O'Brien horse in Mogul. I'm not going to show you the replay, but anyway, he broke a little bit slow, was 6 wide on the final turn, although the turns there are very large sweeping turns, sort of like the outer turf at Belmont. But the amazing thing about Mishrif is he won off at 6 to 1. And thank you, Mishrif, again. I don't think he's going to be going off 6 to 1 anytime soon, unless he's in just a real difficult, Group 1 race at Ascot or somewhere. But I had a win bet again on him. I just cannot believe. I think the story is not only that he won, but that he went off at 6 to 1, a complete mystery. Comment down below, of course, if you had a win bet on Mishrif or Zenden or whatever. But the price on Mishrif, I just absolutely could not believe. Congratulations again to the connections. Mischief has been my horse of 2021, especially for me personally, and maybe for you also out there. Great job. Uh, the other horse, the other race, of course, you have to talk about is Mystic Guide. Mystic Guide, who I talked about in this show. Again, no reason to really pat my back. I knew he'd be the favorite. He got the job done. We're not going to show the replay. He won by 4 or 5 lengths, drawing off, although it was a very weak Dubai World Cup field. Chua Wizard came second. And the other horse that I touted, Magna Coors, finished a nice third uh, in the Dubai World Cup. But again, Michael Stidham, congratulations to him. I'm not sure where they're going to go next with Mystic Guide. They'll obviously bring him back to the States here. He's probably the top. You'd have to say he's the top handicap horse right now in the country, along with Charlatan, Nixco, and anyone else who you believe deserves to be at the top of that list. But another great job. Godolphin owns the horse, so the home team in blue wins the Dubai World Cup. All right, now let's talk about the races and the results that happened at Gulfstream. There are a lot of things that happened that were very interesting at Gulfstream. Sort of mixed results for me personally, but we're not going to watch a lot of replays. What we're going to do is look at the charts a lot. So I hope you're going to bear with me. It's going to be a pretty short video, but you really need to learn and understand how to look at the charts and look at what happened Saturday. I do a deep dive every Sunday or Monday. I take a look at how I picked how I handicapped the horses, how they ended up doing, why I won, why I lost, etc., and take a look at it. And I had some mixed results. Coincidentally, for me personally, Saturday morning in Dubai was better than my results Saturday at Gulfstream. I just say coincidentally because I spent 4 times as much time on Gulfstream. But some very strange things happened at Gulfstream that we need to talk about in the Pick Six. And again, I'm just going to briefly talk about these races and look at the charts mainly, but it's worth discussing. So feel free to jot some notes down and watch this show a few times to hopefully you'll glean some things from what we're going to talk about. So the first thing I want to talk about is the first race now of the pick six, which was an allowance race won by Saif. I did not like Saif. I talked about it a lot, and I was sitting with my good friend Jerry Richmond. Happened to be an OTB for the first time in forever because I was involved in a contest. And as you can see there, sorry about that. As you can see, Saif won the race. I did not like Saif a lot. I used him as a B. I talked about the pace scenario. And you can see, if you just look at the pace scenario here, if you look at the quarter time, Saif, after the first quarter, was first, Noble Indy second, and First Primo was fourth, and they finished 1, 2, 3. So it was basically a merry-go-round race. And I talked about the fact that the number 2, Fortune's Fool, was the key to the race. I just want to show you the very beginning of the race here because I thought that was the whole key. In fact, I said on the show the 2 needs to show speed and press the 7. And as you watch the very start, just watch the 2 here. The 2 just, you can see he broke sort of slow. He didn't rush up at all. And right at about this point, I turned to my friend Jerry and I said, Jerry, this race is over. I knew I was in trouble. When I say in trouble, I just didn't have Saif as an A horse. He was a secondary horse for me. And he just got loose again. Now, this is a very talented horse. Again, we're not going to show the whole race. I just wanted to show that part of it right there. But once that happened, I knew I was in trouble. And if you take a look at the incremental pace here, you see Saif got away with a 23-4 first quarter. On that turf course at Gulfstream, that is absolutely walking. His second quarter was 22-3, and you see he finished in a ridiculous 22-2. So there's no way they were catching Saif. He's very talented. There's no question about it. It's just I cannot wait to bet against this horse. Again, I liked First Premio. I liked Hey Dakota. And by the way, look at Hey Dakota's final quarter, 22.06. Absolutely flying. If you have your own stable, or at least you should write it down. Next time you see Hey Dakota run, Hey Dakota is a big time use for me because he closed huge, going 22 into a paceless race. You can see the buyers here. Take a look at the buyers. Again, if you go from left to right, this is a great thing about formulators. Sayaf got 100. He ran a huge top here. Previous races 89.94. Todd Pletcher, listen, he's done a great job with Sayaf. I just do not like this horse in a certain situation on a turf that's not rock hard. If there's other speed, he's gonna. I'm still gonna be betting against Sayaf in a certain situation. But again, he ran 6 points higher than he'd ever had. He ran a great race, but again, he got very loose on the lead. And it's just the situation where you need to find spots to bet against Sayaf. I'm going to find a spot to bet against him. Maybe the next race, maybe it won't. Pletcher's got this horse going well, but that did not help me. And if you use an all button, like I suggested, possibly in the K-Man ticket, don't the favorites just always win when you hit an all button? It's just absolutely amazing. But anyway, listen, the break is very important in all these races. Speed didn't break, Sayev did. Ball game. That's all you really need to talk about. Let's talk about the next race in the pick six sequence. This was the grade 2 Pan American Stakes. And again, let's just look at the standard chart. Churn and Burn, who was a C for me, knocked me out of my own pick six right there after 2 legs, which was really disappointing. But again, there's a horse that didn't break that I thought had a huge effect on the race. We see Churn and Burn wire the field at 5.5 to 1. And my two top choices, Moon Over Miami and Cross Border, finished second and third. They both had excuses. I thought they both ran well. Sadler's Joy, who I mentioned on our preview video, I completely hated. Did what I thought he would do, which is run fourth. He didn't win. He still took a decent amount of money. But again, when you look at the buyers here, Churn and Burn, you see that 101. He ran a 101. He ran a 13-point top. I thought Churn and Burn might improve to like a low mid 90s. I didn't see him improving 13 lengths to be 13 buyer points to be perfectly honest. And you see Muno Miami pretty much improved just a buyer point, but definitely improved. And Cross Border ran the same kind of race that he'd be running. I will say I thought he'd run a better race, but I think there's a reason why he didn't run his best race. And again, we need to watch just very quickly at the beginning of this race. Again, the Cross Border was the one horse. Let me just go ahead and fast forward. And Churn and Burn was on the outside. Watch Cross Border here on the inside. You see right there, he breaks a length and a half, 2 lengths slow, and you can see he's already behind the ball game. And you look at the hands here of the jock. He's already asking. You can see he's asking to get in position, while Churn and Burn already has about a 2-length lead. And that makes a huge difference in these races. So Cross Border, who I thought would be on the lead, didn't break. And I think it's fair to say, I mean, again, he got a 95 in this race. I think it'd be fair to say that if he breaks, he runs closer, to 100 buyer, and he maybe beats Churn and Burn. Not sure. Maybe not. Maybe just Churn and Burn was just unbeatable. But again, I think the break really did hurt Cross Border fans. Also, Moon Over Miami was 3 wide the entire first turn. I actually thought Moon Over Miami probably ran the best race of all 3 of those horses I just mentioned, including Churn and Burn and Cross Border. So Moon Over Miami is definitely a horse to watch going forward. But the first 2 legs I just selfishly had some very unfortunate events with horses breaking. Listen, that's horse racing. I looked back at the charts. I looked back to my own handicapping. I have no regrets. No regrets whatsoever. First 2 races didn't work out for me. Horses didn't break that I thought would have a huge effect on the race. And other horses I had as A's actually ran very well. They just couldn't run down the speed. I had some people talk to me on Twitter saying, here's Gulfstream again, big time speed favoring turf. I have to respectfully disagree, everyone. If you watch the earlier races, there were 2 turf horses that closed from behind. I think the turf was fair. I mean, I talked on the preview show. You knew it was going to be rock hard and fast, but that doesn't mean it's going to be unfair or biased. And there were races, again, there was a race later in the card we're going to talk about where a horse closed. It's just these 2 horses, Sayef and Churn and Burn, got loose on the lead, and I didn't think either one would really happen. So be it. You turn the page, you move on, stuff happens. That's the way it goes. Let's go ahead and look at the next race. of the sequence. We're not going to talk too much about it. Annex barely won. This horse loves to win. It was the Cutler Bay. Ran a great race, just barely beat the longest shot on the board in full meanie at 29.6 to 1. I think it's worth looking at the buyer figures. You can see Annex did take quite a big step down. I mean, he ran 7 less points than normal. It really was not a very strong race if you look at the buyers. I'm assuming they're going to run Annex at Churchill in the 3-year-old race that they have there coming up in Derby Day. He's going to have to improve, though, because he's going to face, I'm sure, some Chad Brown monsters coming back and some others. But Annex is a very exciting horse. Congratulations if you had him. He was one of my top choices. But again, he was 6-5, so not going to pat myself on the back for that one. Hopefully you had Annex in any exotic bet that you used. Let's go on to the next race that I want to discuss. The next race was race 12. This was the Gulfstream Park Oaks. It was a grade 2. I really liked Milfoy in this race quite a bit. Milfoy didn't really have too many excuses, I thought. He got a good trip. Was a little bit wide, tucked himself in. You see he bounced back to his 79 buyer. I thought he'd run even a better race than that, to be perfectly honest. But Crazy Beautiful matched her buyer top with an 83 and a fantastic ride as the second choice at 2 to 1. Milfoy, I was licking my chops, to be very honest. Milfoy went off at 4.3 to 1, and I put a significant win bet on Milfoy because I liked her in the first place, and secondly, I couldn't believe the price. She ran well, but I have to say I was a little disappointed with Milfoy that she couldn't finish the job. But Crazy Beautiful and Jose Ortiz just gave her an unbelievable ride, just following Milfoy the whole way and just came over the top. I don't think Milfoy or Crazy Beautiful are a threat to win the Kentucky Oaks unless they take a huge step forward. I just don't see it happening. We'll see what happens a month from now in at Churchill Downs. But to me, Travel Column and Clairiere and some of the horses we saw last week um, at the fairgrounds, and maybe some horses out east at Aqueduct and some horses out west at Santa Anita are just more impressive than the Florida 3-year-old fillies. I'm not interested in betting them, at least not now, in the Kentucky Oaks going forward. Let's take a look at the last 2 races for a little bit deeper dive. Race 13. Race 13 was the Orchid, and this was the 1 3/8 turf race for fillies, and boy, did we smash this out of the park. Again, I hope you watched the preview video and was able to cash, because this race, fortunately for myself and hopefully for you viewers out there, we completely knocked this one out of the park. Warlike Goddess improved his figure, and I thought she would improve. So this improvement didn't surprise me. She improved 9 points. You can see from an 87 there to a 96. The big favorite, Always Shopping, who I thought might be a bit vulnerable because I thought it was just a tougher field, still ran a very good race, ran second as the 1.1 favorite. Sorrel, third from Europe, first time starting the States. Delta Kingdom finished fourth. What I do want to watch is the stretch run, because there was a lot of chat, again, on Twitter, social media, about the ride that IRAD gave. And I'm just going to go right to the finish here. Let me fast forward. We're just going to watch it from here on over. Always Shopping is the 9, getting a nice trip in the 2-path there. The winner right here, Warlike Goddess. And Irad did something he doesn't normally do too much, that Paco Lopez does all the time, that drives me crazy, is that when Irad got the lead, he did look behind twice to see if anyone is coming. But it was a very subtle, quick look behind. Watch very carefully Irad. And again, here's Warlike Goddess. But watch Irad. He's got a pretty, nice lead here. And he takes a very quick look back, right about, it's coming up right there. You see, it just turned his head, and then right there again. And I heard some people on Twitter say that cost him the race. Look, I don't. I think that's a little bit, of people who are a little bitter about the results of the race personally. I mean, when you're riding a 1,000+ pound animal and you do this and then you do that, I don't really know if that costs your horse the race. I respect people who believe that. I mean, Paco Lopez, when he rides, you've seen him like completely like look like turn his body and like look back behind him. You see that all the time. That I don't understand. That I think can cost you a little bit. But just doing this real quick, I don't know. I think you're crying over spilt milk a little bit if you had always shopping. Just my opinion. I think you just mainly have to give credit to Warlike Goddess, who ran a fantastic race and just ran down always shopping. And we can look at the internal splits here. Warlike Goddess, the final 16th in 11.1 or 11.24. That is flying. And you can see how much she outclosed always shopping by almost, half a second. Was that 0.43 seconds? So almost half a second faster on the close. That's really pretty impressive. I think you just have to, give credit to Warlike God as opposed to blame Irad Ortiz for, taking two extremely quick, subtle looks back in the stretch. I mean, that's just my opinion. Again, you can decide if that cost her the race or not. Julian Le Peru, by the way, let's talk about Julian Le Peru. Julian Le Peru won 3 races. Got a little bit hate on my live stream, on our live stream. A few people said they didn't like Le Peru, and I said the Le Peru can absolutely win races on the turf. I know sometimes he can be too patient, but he won on the lead. He won off the lead. Listen, Julian Le Peru has won a lot of races, and I understand at times he can be frustrating, but you got to give the guy credit. He had a fantastic day on Saturday, so tipping my cap to Julian Le Peru Saturday at Gulfstream, who actually cost me a victory with Churn and Burn, but then gave me a victory with Warlike Goddess. So again, it goes both ways, everyone. That's horse racing. It's going to happen. You're going to love a jockey one time, you're going to hate him the next time, or her. That's the way the game goes. Let's go ahead and talk about the big race of the day now. And the big race of the day, of course, was the Florida Derby, Grade 1, mile and eighth, and Todd Pletcher. Todd Pletcher, known agenda, a horse that I did not love, ran a great race, ran a huge buyer top, which we're going to show. Soup and Sandwich, you can see there. Let's go ahead and look at the chart. Soup and Sandwich came in second. Greatest Honor, who I used as an A, but in hindsight, that might have been my biggest mistake of the entire day from a betting perspective, because I mentioned that I just didn't love Greatest Honor in this spot, but there are a lot of horses I didn't like. Collaborate, who was sort of my top choice that I touted, ran fifth, but I think really he ran a better fifth than it looks. We're going to watch the first turn of the race to talk about what happened, the complexion of the race. But before I do that, take a look at the buyer figures. And again, Known Agenda, you can see, was living in the high 70s, low 80s. Now, listen, let me go back. And he improved to a 94. He improved 12 buyer points. So let me just put myself back on camera to talk about a few things real quick. You do need to expect improvement with some horses. Like, for example, Warlike Goddess, I expected an improvement. He improved. But Churn and Burn and Known Agenda both improved 12 and 13 points and 12 points respectively. Those are huge jumps up. I thought they might improve, but I didn't think they would improve that much. And when a horse improves that much, and you handicap a race, sometimes it works out for you and sometimes it doesn't. I'm not really sure where that improvement came from with Known Agenda, but listen, full credit. If you liked Known Agenda, congratulations for you and the Todd Pletcher. And by the way, the ride he got, and again, we're not going to show the whole race, but the ride he got was absolutely outstanding. I believe it was Irad. Just saved ground in the first turn, angled out, and blew by the field with a fantastic effort. Let's go ahead and watch the first turn, because I thought the first turn was really important factor in this race. Let me just fast forward a little bit. So again, when you watch this now, Irad was on the 5 with Known Agenda. Collaborate was the 9. Spielberg, who, as you know, I hated, and proved to be right about that, was the 10. So I said on the previous show I didn't see a lot of inside speed in this race. I was a little surprised that Nova Rag showed as much speed as he did, and very surprised the 2. Now, when you watch this, the 8 in gray here, Soup and Sandwich, who I thought could be on the lead, sort of veered over into Collaborate right there, into Collaborate and Spielberg, and bothered them a little bit, and allowed also the 1 and 2 to go up in there. And you see, this is not the best spot. Collaborate right here is 4 wide. I did not think he'd be 4 wide at all, and he was using hard. I thought right about here that Tyler would maybe take back and sort of go in behind horses. You see all this empty space right here. I thought he might take back the same way that uh, the jock on Milfoy did, but he decided that, this is a big horse, and so he decided to go on with it. I didn't really have a problem with it because he was sitting comfortably, although he was wide. Here's Known Agenda. I mean, look at this. Unbelievable. Saving ground. Meanwhile, um, Collaborate's using a lot of effort there in the 4 path. You see Spielberg in the 3 path right there getting a wide trip into a pretty legitimate first quarter of 23 and 2. Again, I don't want to show the entire race. I'm sure most of you watched it, but there are a few things to talk about out of the Florida Derby that I want to mention. Number one, again, if you liked Known Agenda, congratulations. I had really a tough decision to make in this race from a betting perspective. I didn't like Nova Rags to win. I did not like Soup and Sandwich to win. I definitely didn't like Spielberg to win. And that turned out to be correct. So it left me with 3 horses basically on the win end. Greatest Honor, who I'm sort of kicking myself because I really didn't love this horse on Saturday, and I should have moved him down, but he just seemed so logical. I put him in as an A. Collaborate, who I have absolutely no qualms about. I think this horse is a big future. He regressed in this race, but he was wide in the first turn, and he only finished about 4.5, 5 lengths back. It wasn't a complete disaster at all. I think this horse has a big future going forward. The trip just didn't work out for him or for me. And then Known Agenda. Now, some people on the chat liked Known Agenda. And again, if you had Known Agenda, congratulations. But I just didn't see where this horse would improve 13, 14 buyer points. But he did. And he got an incredible ride. And I guess you can say he's a factor now in the Derby. I guess. I personally don't think so. I've never been a fan of these horses running in Florida this winter. I'm completely against all of them. I'm definitely against Greatest Honor. Can Known Agenda step up again in the low 100s and win the Derby? I suppose it's possible. We'll have to see how he works and everything. I'm still going to be against him probably come Derby day, but hats off to Pletcher and the connections. So that's going to wrap up our recap show. Again, I wanted to go a little bit shorter today. Thank you very much for watching again. Please make sure you subscribe on the left side. You comment down below. And next Thursday and Friday night, I'm going to have live streams both, including next Thursday night. There's going to be we're going to talk about a free contest that is available. I can't wait to discuss it next Thursday night. Also, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show. You see on the scroll down below, I have a new email just for the show and for horse racing. I'll be tweeting it out also. The new email, again, you can pause it when you see it on the scroll down below as you see it right now. It's hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Please feel free to email me if you want to send me a more private message regarding horse racing in general, any questions you have, thoughts about the show, business inquiries, anything that you might want to email me about. Again, it's hkravitzhorse@gmail.com is my email for the show. Please feel free. If you don't have Twitter, feel free to reach me out there. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central to talk about the big Kentucky Derby prep races. This is Howard Kravitz for Howard's Horse Handicapping. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Goodbye.